Hope you're all well. I'm sorry I'm in a bit of a funny frame here. Can't see the top of my head. But it's the only way I could do this with you being able to see and me being able to see, and if you see what I mean. So we'll have to just muddle along. I feel like I haven't done a video for ages, even though I have. I missed last week's because we had the Arden video, but anyway. I had a request from Sarah to do a video on how to draw noses. So I thought I'd just have a go at that, really. Not that I'm some expert nose drawer, but there are a few good simple things you can do to get a realistic form of a nose when you're doing drawing or painting, and it kind of applies. The technique will apply to anything you're doing. So if you're using paints, you can use the same idea, the same sort of approach, and if you're using pencils, the same, charcoals, anything. So it's quite useful, and I'm really running out of ideas as well. So yeah, I thought I'd use black paper and white pencil so that you can see it more, because if it's white, then it's gonna be blinding by the light. Blinded by the light. So you can't really see that, So I thought I'd go for white pencil on black paper. It's the same idea. It's that the shading will be in white rather than the shading being in dark, if you see what I mean. And with noses, I really like drawing noses. They're like one of my favourite things to draw on the face, because they're sort of the centre of the face, and they've got this they're all different, and they're all sort of, I'm fascinated by looking at them. The profile of the nose side is harder to get right, in my opinion, but that's just me. Front on's pretty straightforward, but there's a basic principle towards it which you can use, so I will show you that. And this sort of thing applies to all elements of the face when you're drawing it, really. It's very structural. It's not, round. It's not round, and it's not round. It's not just round shapes or whatever. My phone's going off in the background. So I will maybe do another one of these on eyes, and again, I'm not an expert on these things. I'm just showing you how I do it, and you might be able to have a go at it. I find a lot of things on the internet really unhelpful, and the tutorials, and they end up looking really like how to draw a face if you're into manga or into something like cartoony or just hyper realistic, which actually I think is a bit naff, and you don't get that quality of character quirkiness. So yeah, I'll stop waffling and go. So firstly, with noses, you really want to start with this part, because this kind of helps you with the bridge. So you can draw. Say I was doing a front on, so I'll do front on. Can you see that? Yeah. So I'm going to start with a ball, a sphere. Now the good thing about noses is they're made up of spheres, of 3 spheres, so 2, 1, 2, and 3. And the same applies to them when you're colouring in, when you're shading a sphere, like so if you've ever drawn an apple or anything round, you have the shading around the edge, and you have a light spot in the middle, which you will always have, no matter where the light's coming from. You'll always have a round area of light, which is the same for the nose. You can see it on my nose now, there it is, and it's here too. Obviously you have the nostrils, but when you put your nose like that, you can see the light falls on these 3 areas and this area. So, well, obviously depending where the light is, but the light on me right now. I'm just going to make it up because I can't actually look at that and look at this at the same time. So I've got 1 sphere, and then I'm going to draw 2 overlapping smaller spheres either side. Now, the positioning of this determine where your nose is. So, for example, you're like that, or kind of, if we're doing front on, then just imagine I'm talking myself front, like that, or like that, or tipped. So mine are kind of in the middle a little bit, and one is slightly smaller than the other. That's okay. And this is just a basic start on this. Now you've got those shapes. Really, that is your nose basis, as it were. You can add all the other bits in afterwards, and the shading will I'd have a go at practicing this and just practicing, even if you don't like sketchy shading and rough that you like it quite perfect, then just have a go at this first, because it will free you up and make you realise that how the shapes are made up. So I'm going to get a bit more of a whiter pencil here and just start really joining these and just accentuating the sphere a little bit more, so it's less like Mickey Mouse, and just where the nose joins, the nostrils join like that. Ooh, this pencil's not very good, is it? And you can kind of see there's a little dimple here at the top like that a nose will start to kind of come at you. Obviously you have the sides here, which people have these bits. Mine are very prominent. I think when I'm older I'm going to have real like me witch's cheeks. So that comes down here to the philtrum, which is this part, and it kind of points, the nose sort of got a point to it. Well, it will have at this angle anyway, so I'm just going to quickly draw that in so you can see. Try not to do that because I've just smudged it, it doesn't matter. And then kind of disregard these little lines of the spheres that you've put for the little ones here, and start to sort of think about how it would blend. And you've got this kind of line that goes up here from the side, the angles. It's all about angles, the face. So you can really think, okay, well the nose is level with the bottom of my ears. Eyes are level with the top of your ears. Your eyes are exactly in the middle of your face. There's proportions, you know how you have like your foot is always the size of this part of your arm, unless you have no arm, obviously, which is not your arms, which is not true then, but there are some exceptions, obviously. But standard kind of procedure is that there are proportions that you can measure, and these angles all matter, and you should pay attention to them. So this part of your eye is level with this not part of your nostril, and diagonally across your face, the line from here to here will go down to here. Oops. So it's all, you can really kind of break it up into angles if you wanted to start with. But with this nose, I'm just going to start colouring in. So what I was saying about the sphere, I'm going to put some lighter, slightly darker bits, well lighter bits in this case because I'm using white, but around the edges of my nose like that, and here. I wish I could do this in pencil because I don't really like these white pencils. And you've got this kind of shape. I mean, it depends on the bridge of your nose, but most people have a kind of round bit here. If you're looking front on, I have. It goes kind of in and out like that. So I'm just going to kind of imagine that I'm drawing my nose, I think, because it's easier. And you can straighten off any sides that look wrong. Just use your kind of instinct, but the spheres give you a good starting point. And then again, go up from there. And you won't see these lines, obviously, but they're sort of suggestive to start with. They give you that sort of, they give you that kick start to figure out where your shapes are coming from. So you can see I've got like, I'm starting to build up shape, tone, darkness, light, where it would be. So around, imagine that if I was using, I hope this isn't going to be confusing for people because I'm using white, not black, but essentially just imagine the white is black. You'll have a sort of darkness happening in these bits. I can't really vary the tone of this white pen. I might have to just have a go with. You'd have like, you could do a bit of cross hatching here around these bits. You'd have darkness there. And you'd have a light area on the end of the nose, which would blend out. Depending on where you were looking, but we're doing front on view at the moment, so. I kind of want to use the wobbling as well. It's all going wrong. And then that would be dark under here like that. The variation of darkness I'm finding it difficult to get because of this white pencil. You can't really let me do that, but you can sort of see what I'm talking about a bit. I wonder if this one's any better. And just have a play around with how it looks, and the light will, you'll think, oh, that doesn't look quite right, and you'll adjust it, and it will, or it won't. But yeah, this 3-sphere approach. So you can kind of see, it's really hard with these pens actually. See what I'm doing, but at the top of the lip there. Then you'll have bridge of nose and coming into eyebrow. You can kind of see the start of, not really actually, these white pencils are rubbish. So I think I might try it on the white, see what charcoal. See what happens. Charcoal. See, I'm as prepared as ever for this video. Let's have a go with some charcoal and see what happens. So I'll do a different view now, so it's slightly side on, and we'll just have to see if the light, I might be able to adjust the light on the settings of the video at the end. So we're going to do a little sphere like that, and a sort of a sphere behind, a sort of suggestive sphere behind there, like it was, imagine that it was there hiding, and then one here. And if you just kind of go playing around with spheres and drawing them at different places and then joining them, you'll get like this, the kind of nose feeling that you want. That doesn't really make any sense what I've just said, but you can see there now, it's like sphere, sphere, and then just have a play with the angles, and that is a kind of very, I mean, the light would be falling there, and just pay attention when you look at yourself in the mirror. If you're unsure of like what happens with shadows and light and stuff, just pay attention when you look at yourself in the mirror, what's going on and where the light is and how it looks. I was saying before about cross hatching, so it's quite a nice way to get shading if you use lines one way, vertical or horizontal, diagonally or whatever, blah blah blah, and then hatch in the other way. It works so well with charcoal, but it still does. And then you can reapply a bit of darkness and you can sort of blend the edges a bit. It's a nice kind of quick way of achieving light and dark in sketching, so that you're not spending ages trying to blend all of your shadows and stuff. It's more suggestive. I would just give my nose a bit, like I was saying before, around the edge where it's pointy nose. Just going to give it a little bit of darkness around here, not much, and then around here where these parts are of your nose. Just suggest that that's at that angle. And you can kind of see what I mean. A little bit. If you just play around with that, really, and it's that will get you the effect that you want. Paying attention to the light and the dark and what's happening. Okay, what else? We can do side on. Side on. So side on would be so a sphere. Again, you don't have to. They don't have to be perfect spheres either. They're just kind of shaped round. I keep saying sphere. It's annoying myself. And then one next to it, a bit like a penny farthing. And that can be. You can add this different shapes to it. You can make it like not completely round afterwards and accentuate it and whatnot. But it gives you the basic principle. So side view would just be with that really. You've got this kind of interesting. I can't imagine what's happening there. Yeah, you have this sort of bit that comes up here, and then the nostril, obviously, depending on what angle it's at, and then it kind of goes to this sort of triangle with this bit here, the sort of cheek bit. And again with the nose shading, just try and keep that sphere suggestion, because that's what will ultimately make it look not like a weirdly placed thing on your face. And then play around with the shading here as well. There'll be, you know, if you look at mine, oh, it's confusing me. I've got this definite darkness coming from, well, I've got bags under my eyes, but darkness coming from here to there, so I'd add that if I was from this part of my nose. It's just kind of here. So I'd add a band of shading up there to like where my eye is, you know, that's. And then I'd have sort of, my nose is a bit more pointy than that, so I'd just sort of straighten off bits of that weren't so round. But if you start with that and that, you can't really go wrong. And the best thing to do, the only way I've ever got comfortable drawing faces, or even not that I can really well, but is just doing it over and over and over again all the time, looking so much, paying attention to your face, and really observing what's happening on your face and where, you know, how it changes with the way that you move your face, and how things aren't always as big as they look, and how things are sometimes always, you know, sort of bigger or smaller, and that is, I think, to be able to say like how to draw noses, blah blah blah, that a person can give someone some tips, but really it's just a case of having a go, and getting it wrong and doing it again and getting it wrong and doing it again, if you see what I mean. I'm trying to think what else. If you were to do, like I was saying, sphere down here and then two up here, like it really does look like Mickey Mouse. You can see now where the angle of you'd be looking down onto the nose like that. So the angle would be from above, and you'd get this kind of, and that would definitely, these parts of the nose would be more, you'd be able to see them more like that, and that would come up like that. Can't figure out how the light would be, so it would come down like that. It's just looking, it's all it is. It's really, really just, and you can, I hate charcoal. I'd rather be using pencil, but it's darker, so it's good for the video. But you know, just pay attention, and things aren't always as they seem. I think that's the thing to remember with all, you know, portrait drawing, or anything actually. With angles, when we're looking at buildings and stuff like that, the same. It's kind of, things aren't always as they appear, even though, because our mind totally plays tricks on us. I'm struggling to remember how to do that one. Come down there. And just kind of let the whatever you're using go where it wants to go, because it's kind of, you know, figuring it out, which is what I'm doing. And yeah, don't forget to sort of look at the differences between people's noses as well, or whatever you're looking at, face-wise and blah blah. And what else can I say? That's not really anything else I can say about that. It's noses. Have a go. I like big noses. They're my favourite. Okay, I will go, and who knows? Maybe we'll have a go at drawing some noses. Bye!